The summer before I left for college, I spent every day at an amusement park. Let me make that sound less fun. I spent every day working at an amusement park. Let me make that even less fun. I spent every day working at an indoor amusement park in Delaware. It was called Funscape. Escape to the fun. That was their motto. It was in a giant warehouse-looking structure at the nexus of civilization, the corner of Concord Pike and State Route 92 in North Wilmington. Funscape was not all that much fun. That was the first problem with it. It didn't have things an outdoor amusement park would have. You know, it didn't have a roller coaster or a Ferris wheel. It had no room for those things. So we had things like the motion simulated theater, where you could pay $5 to watch a 4-minute movie while your seat shook. And they really capitalized on the popular themes, but without any of the copyright infringement. So they had things like Escape from Dino Island. Yeah, what's that supposed to be? I don't know. We had laser tag, but that was a misnomer too, because you weren't actually allowed to shoot people with the laser guns or even walk with them. They were tethered to podiums, and you stood in this fog-filled room and shot them at light bulbs. We had virtual reality. It was 1997, so that was pretty cool. You got to put on the helmet and be in this alternate fantasy universe. The problem was that the fantasy universe had no objectives. So you were just kind of there, looking around at polygons and smelling the heads of everyone else who put on the helmets before you. Look, a rectangular prism. Oh. And I think the pricing structure of Funscape was devised by lawyers. It was so hard for people to figure out. There were wristbands, there were party wristbands, there were limited wristbands, there were white ride tickets, there were yellow game tickets, there were silver tokens, and there were gold tokens. Multiple times a day, someone would come up to the information desk and say, I have this handful of gold tokens and they don't fit in anything. And we'd have to say, that is true. Welcome to Funscape. Escape to the fun! But I think what made Funscape so horrible for me, really, was my supervisor. My supervisor's name was Ed. Ed was this guy in his late 20s with like a crew cut, military kind of haircut. And one thing Ed really hated was when people argued with him. And I argued with him every now and then because he would tell me to do stupid things. Like one day I was working at the carousel, which is the worst place to work at Funscape, because nobody rides the carousel, especially on like a weekday in the morning. So for an 8-hour shift, you have like 40 minutes of operating the carousel and 7 hours and 20 minutes of nothing. And Ed came around one day and said, I don't like the way you're just standing around there. I'm like, well, Ed, what would you have me do? So from now on, when no one's riding the carousel, you should be cleaning the horses. And the park is brand new. We just opened. We're indoors. There's no dirt on the horses. There's no dust. These are the cleanest horses you'll ever see. What am I going to clean? Don't argue with me. So I spent hours on my back scrubbing the paint off of these otherwise pristine horses. It was a horrible summer. Ed wanted me out, I think. You could have 3 write-ups before you were fired. I got 2 of mine from Ed in the same day. They were ridiculous little things like, oh, you signed on to the wrong cash register this morning. I'm writing you up for misuse of equipment. So I spent most of my summer with 2 write-ups and wondering when that 3rd one is going to come. And then everything came to a head on the day of the biggest customer freakout I have ever seen in my life, before or since. I was working at Golf and Gifts, which is the little entrance hut to mini golf where we also sold things, which nobody ever bought. Because who is going to pay $31 for a purple sweatshirt that says Funscape Delaware? Escape to the fun. No one. But on this day, I'm standing there, I'm scanning wristbands on the way into mini golf. A woman runs in, this middle-aged woman. She looks very, very angry. She says, you need to give me a shirt. Okay, well, we have adult and children's sizes. They're $13.95. No, I'm not buying a shirt. You owe me a shirt. Why do we owe you a shirt? My son's over in the food court, and the idiots at the food court didn't put the lid on his soda tight enough, and he spilled it all over himself. So your park owes me a t-shirt. Okay, calm down. Well, I can't give you a shirt, but let me call my manager. Let me see what he can do. Ed, please report to Golf and Gifts. Ed to Golf and Gifts. My son is over there in the food court right now. He's dripping wet. He's 4 years old. Maybe you shouldn't have abandoned him over there. Probably scared out of his mind. I didn't say that. Well, Ed, please come to Golf and Gifts right now. Or if anyone knows where Ed is or can see Ed, can you please call him and tell him come to Golf and Gifts? Finally, she says, "This is ridiculous." And she grabs a shirt off the wall and runs out. And then I hear, "This is Ed, go ahead." Ed, and I tell him the whole thing, what happened, and I said, "Meet me at the food court. I'll point out who she is." And I get someone to cover for me at Golf and Gifts, and I run to the food court. And Ed and I get to the food court at the same time. Ed is carrying a t-shirt. And there's the woman. Her son's soiled t-shirt is sort of sitting on the ground. It's got this big stain on it. I can see why he spilled the drink on himself. Loose lid or no loose lid, she gave a 4-year-old boy a 32-ounce Dr. Pepper. So Mother of the Year right there to begin with. And he's wearing his new Funscape t-shirt, and Ed says, "Ma'am, I heard what happened. We're very sorry. We can't let you take that t-shirt. It's part of our merchandise. But here's what I can do. I have this other t-shirt. It's left over from a corporate event. I can just let you have that for free." And at first I think, this is a pretty good solution. This might work. Then Ed unfurls the t-shirt, and we see that it is an adult extra large. This made the woman so mad. If she was angry before, now how's he supposed to wear that? And Ed says, "Well, it's not ideal, but it's what we have, and we can't let him take that other shirt." She reaches down, she grabs, and in one motion, I still don't know how she did this without breaking his arm, she rips the other t-shirt off of him. She gets pizza sauce from the kid's mouth all over the collar. She throws that t-shirt at me. She takes Ed's shirt, puts it on the kid. Obviously, it's like, 6 inches below where the ground is. It's like a nightshirt on the kid. The collar's down to here. This poor little boy is looking up at his mother. "Mommy, it's too big." "I know it's too big, but that's what this man says you should wear. That's what the people at Funscape want you to wear. They think it'd be a good idea for you to wear this." And if we went running through the park, and I don't know, if you were to trip and hit his little head, she actually smacked him on the head when she said hit his little head. And if something were to happen to him, or he broke an arm, well, that would be too bad, and we would just have to sue the park then, wouldn't we? I mean, I think I'm watching Candid Camera at this point. I cannot imagine that a real human being is having this interaction in public, but it is going on, and Ed says, "Ma'am, I don't want you to endanger your son. Could you please ask him to tuck the t-shirt into his shorts? It'll look a little silly, but he'll be dry and he'll be safe." She turns to Ed with fire in her eyes and she says, "He doesn't wear his shirts tucked in." She grabs the kid by the hand and she says, "Come on, let's go running. Let's go running, let's go climbing, let's go on the ladder, let's go on the stomping place. We're gonna go have a great time." And she runs out of the food court, leaving all of their food there, with a kid flapping behind her in the breeze like a ghost. And they're off down the hallway. The whole food court has stopped what they're doing. They're all looking, everyone. They're not eating their Sparrow, they're not eating their Blimpie. They're looking at me and Ed. And Ed turns to me and he says, "You're getting written up for this." But I didn't do anything. I said, "You gave away merchandise. You're not allowed to give away merchandise." "But Ed, I didn't give anything. She took it from me." I said, "Don't argue with me." You remember when I said that? "Ed, look, okay, so Ed, this is my third write-up. So are you telling me that I'm fired?" And I still don't know why he didn't fire me. Maybe he really didn't want to escalate the whole thing. Maybe he didn't want an actual lawsuit on his hands. I don't know. But he said, "You're not fired, but you're hanging on by a thread." I said, "But Ed, I didn't even do anything wrong." I said, "Don't argue." I went back to Golf and Gifts. I worked the rest of the day. Got to the end of the summer, kept my job, came back the next summer. I worked at a summer camp for part of the summer, and then I needed a place where I could get a job at home for just like 6 weeks. There's only one place that would hire me. It was Funscape. So I came back to Funscape, but I was not floor staff anymore. I worked in the kids' birthday party division, and even though a father high-fived me when his toddler peed on the floor that I had to clean up, and even though I was there at the seminal moment when a young couple learns that you don't give an entire piece of sheet cake to a 6-month-old infant, it was not that bad, because there was no Ed in my life that second summer. If you go to North Wilmington now, and you go to the corner of State Route 92 and Concord Pike, you will see a warehouse. And on the side of the warehouse it says, Regal Cinemas. Because Funscape lasted another couple months. And that was it. It was the kind of place where everybody in town wanted to go there once. And then they were done with that shit. And Ed, well, I was never fired from Funscape, cannot say the same for Ed. I heard that at one point Ed had an affair with a 16-year-old employee, and depending on who you talk to, he was either fired or relocated to the Rochester Funscape. He's gone, Funscape's dead. I am here now in front of you, having escaped from the fun. Thank you.